Next man up, 1025 The Game. Jake Lyman, joined by Cory Curtis from News 2 for his usual Wednesday visit to the program. Ian Safar is with us for a short time here. Parker Kelly will join shortly. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Cory, how's it going? Congratulations to your Cubs yesterday. My Tigers got a win.
Bears win, Cubs win.
There you go.
Lions win.
Good start. I'm not a Lions fan.
Okay, well, Joe is.
I'm
no
all
matter
over
how
the
much
place.
He says he isn't.
Parker, he'll be here at some point. He did say he was going to wear a Cubs jersey in for you today. So
if you're a Tigers fan, that's a big win. I mean, after the collapse that they had to go on the road and take game one, that is really, really big.
I was a little worried they were going to waste Tarek Skubal's phenomenal performance yesterday.
14,
7 2/3, 14 strikeouts. Wow. He was unbelievable. They did just enough to get the win.
Yeah, so, well, I mean, if you look at all of yesterday's games, there were not a lot of runs scored.
Right, except for the Dodgers, who they took batting practice against the Reds last night.
What did we expect?
Yes,
I mean that one looks like that was like when Hulk Hogan would wrestle, Barry Smith, and it's over in like 18 seconds.
Right.
Okay. What do they call that, a quash match or something like that? That's what that is.
Yeah. Shohei hit the home run right off the bat, and it was like, all right, well, this one, thanks for coming out, Cincy. But yeah, the other games, Red Sox, Yankees came down to the wire. Yeah. Yankees load the bases.
How about Chapman being the finisher for the Red Sox?
Load the bases with nobody out.
That's
and
him.
Then just strike out, pop out, strike out. Game over.
A lot of Mitch Wild Thing Williams in him. But I'll tell you, watching the Cubs game yesterday on News 2, which was great to see.
Yes.
When they went back to back there in the fifth inning, that place was rocking. It was a great. All of them were great environments.
Right.
It was a great environment. I mean, it just shows you. People like to rip on baseball. Baseball is a very regional sport now.
Yeah.
It's not. We call it the national pastime. It is a regional sport now. LA, Chicago, New York, Boston, St. Louis. These are all baseball places.
Yes, big baseball towns.
Philadelphia, a lot of the older towns, really.
Right.
And you should see, it's like playoff hockey. You see the way playoff baseball can really be embraced.
Right. Yes.
There he is. He's got the Cubs jersey on.
He's got the Cubs jersey on. There we go. Parker Kelly has arrived. Yeah, it's playoff baseball. There's just something different about it where the crowd is hanging on every pitch, and it's like if the umpire misses one call in the third inning, it's like they're booing him. It was great. I told Parker this earlier this week. I did not schedule my dentist appointment very well. I had a dentist appointment like 2:30 yesterday. So right as the Tigers game was ending, I had some stressful moments in that waiting room. I was sitting there. I couldn't get the ESPN stream to work. So I had to watch on just the game center or whatever. And I was stressing out in that waiting room.
Let me ask you a question. When did we get to the point where every guy out of the bullpen throws 102?
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm watching the Cubs and the Padres, and every guy coming in the game,
Mason Miller,
is just throwing straight gas.
Yep.
I mean, just insane. I mean, I remember when you brought a guy in out of the pen who threw like 97. You're like, oh, this guy's got major heat. 97 on the gun. Now he's taking a little off, and he's got 97.
Right. 97 is now like the average fastball for your late inning relievers. It's crazy.
Greg Maddux threw, 91, 92?
Yeah.
And Glavine was probably in that same range. Smoltz was a 97, 98 guy.
Right.
But, the great pitchers were craftsmen. I mean, they have movement and they use the edges of the plate.
Hit your spots.
These guys now, it's just like, see if you can catch it.
Yeah, here it is. Go hit it.
Yeah.
And
I'd do it too if I were them.
It's been fun to watch. We got another full day of playoff baseball today. You can listen to those games on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Couple games on 94.9 The Fan, some here on 102.5 The Game. Also, did want to mention Nashville SC playing tonight for the U.S. Open Cup final. We'll dig into that later on in the show, but definitely a big day for them as they look to bring home a trophy to Nashville. In terms of the Tennessee Titans, what a horrible game on Sunday. That was
good.
I said on Monday that it might have been one of the worst football games I've ever watched.
Oh, I've watched way worse than that.
Not just, and some people pointed out the Titans lost 59-0 to the Patriots. I'm not talking about how bad the Titans played, because the Titans have played worse than they played on Sunday.
Because the Texans aren't good.
The entertainment value of that game was just horrible. Neither team got to the red zone until the very end of the third quarter, and
Texans are not good.
It was a horrible game. Titans, they bent but didn't break for 3 quarters on defense, and then the floodgates opened up.
The turnover was big. I mean, look, it's 12-0. You've already missed 2 field goals, so it could be 12-6, I guess, at that point.
Right.
And then you're at midfield. I mean, I think they were on the 43-yard line.
Yeah, it was close to midfield.
And I don't know. Has there been an answer whether Cam missed him or Iron should have sat or whatever? But regardless, it was a tough play for Iron to make. It bounces off his hands and goes the other way and sets up a touchdown. And that's the way, I know what the scores of these games are, but that's the way it's gone. Is it's been close going to the fourth, and then there's a play or two that open the floodgates, and then they just get pasted.
Right. You look at the 2 plays that put that game away. The pick is one of them. I think that was kind of the nail in the coffin of like, all right, well, now it's over. But L'Jarius Sneed giving up the second and 33.
Yeah. What did they say? The safety was supposed to
stay.
So
Denard Wilson said the safety, they were playing quarters coverage. So the safety was supposed to stay on the hash, and he didn't. But L'Jarius Sneed, why are you pressing on second and 33? It made absolutely no sense.
Yeah. I mean, there's aggressive, and then there's cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Well, and it's funny because Brian Callahan, every time he's mentioned that play in the press conference, calls it second and 23. I want to yell at him. It was second and 33. 33.
You could have given up an 18-yard completion and still been in 3rd and 15.
Yes. There's a difference between second and 23 and second and 33. Second and 23 is just a holding penalty and, maybe a tackle for loss on a run.
Yeah.
You got holding penalty. Was it offensive pass interference, illegal hands to the face, something like that?
I think it was a hands to the face.
Yes. Somebody got their hands up on Simmons, I think.
Yeah.
And it was second and 33. You give it up. Texans go down the field, score their first touchdown. Couple plays later, you throw the pick, and it's game over.
I mean, it's a backbreaker. I mean, they always say don't let one mistake become 2. When you give up a first down on second and 33, everybody on that defense is going, oi.
Yes. Yeah.
We should be on the sideline sipping a cold one.
Right.
Now.
That's it. It's one of those that just takes the wind out of your sails. You finally got them way behind the chains. You feel like you're going to have good field position because they were backed up to their own 15 on that play.
Yeah.
Right around there.
I feel bad because I sat here in this chair a week ago and said Jeff Simmons needs to be the best player on the field for them to have a chance. He was the best player on the field.
He was.
They still didn't win.
We've had texters this week saying that Jeffrey Simmons isn't playing very well. And I'm like, if you're looking at Jeffrey Simmons in relation to everybody else on the Titans and saying he's not playing well, what are the other guys out there?
Like, if you want 3 sacks a game, yeah, he's not playing well. But that would be 51 for the season, and no one's done that before. He always plays well in Houston. Always. I mean, I saw him use another man to tackle another man once in Houston, which was one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in my life. Him jumping that snap and sacking Stroud was incredible. He was in the backfield several other times. When Arden Key finally got a sack, it's because Simmons flushed him.
Femi was also there too.
Femi set his edge,
yep,
and so he had no place to escape. And then Arden closed from the backside.
Yep.
So that sack was exactly what they have drawn up this year.
For
and
sure.
I guess that's a point we have not made. Is we get after their design on defense because they don't have any edge rushers, and rightfully so. Okay. But their whole thing is set the edges, collapse it from the interior, and then he's got no place to go.
Right.
They successfully did that against the Texans. My thing is the Texans offensive line is so bad that they gave up sacks to the Titans where no other team has.
Right.
And so I think Houston could get things turned around, but as they are right now, they are not going to beat a lot of people.
Yeah, it's strange to say after week 4, and we're going to have a conversation about some of the biggest surprises through the first month of the NFL season. One of the big ones has to be that the AFC South looks like it's the Colts and Jags who are competing for it. It's
absolutely.
The Texans could figure it out, but I agree with that offensive line. They're going to have more problems when they face teams who can actually get after the passer.
They're a sieve, man. They're terrible.
I mean, it was bad. And you're right. It's like Arden Key and Draymond Jones had been non-existent for the first 3 weeks, and they finally got one in cleanup duty because Simmons and Femi basically ran CJ Stroud right into both of their arms.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, if you collapse the pocket and good things happen when everybody does their job, and that's a great teaching point for coaches.
Yep.
Because they can say this is a play where everyone did their job. No one tried to do more than their job. Everyone did their job, and you see the result of it.
Yep. I think that's what the Titans envisioned with their pass rush this year. The issue is, you got to do it more than they have.
Yeah,
and
and look, Sweat's not a great pass rusher,
yes,
but
he eats up
yeah,
blocks,
yeah,
which is huge. And he will, at the very least, miss the next 2 games.
Yeah.
First chance he could come back is Patriots game back at home.
Yeah, it's look, they're really missing those 2 guys. That's a first round pick and a high second round pick.
Yep.
And I'm not saying that's the difference between 0-4 and 2-2, but they're missing both those guys. It is clear they're not deep enough to absorb any injuries, and so all of them are going to be exacerbated, and we're seeing that.
Right. And Tavondre Sweat again can't come back this week. You're hoping you get JC Latham back. Maybe you get Tajay Spears back as they reopen his practice window.
The thing about Latham is he hasn't even set foot on the practice field yet. He hasn't been
Correct.
he hasn't been limited yet.
Right.
And that's my concern there. And maybe he gets back this week. We'll see.
I think today we say it every time you're in on Wednesdays. Let's see what Latham is today. If he's limited, I think he plays today. But if you're planning on having him back, I don't think he's a DNP on Wednesday. So
yeah, if he doesn't practice at all today, there's no way.
Right. So we'll see if JC Latham can avoid missing a 4th straight game with that hip injury. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts, questions, we'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We've got lots to get to on the Titans. We are going to start with Cam Ward. The question that has been asked is whether Cam Ward has regressed through 4 weeks, which, it seems a little bit rash to say that about a guy who, again, has only played 4 games in his NFL career.
I know we're going to get into it.
Yep.
I think it's safe to say he had a bad week.
He did. It was his worst game as an NFL player so far.
But I think what Callie was kind of saying, you can't use one game to say regressed.
Right.
Guys have a good week. Guys have a bad week.
Yes. And we're going to hear from Brian Callahan on that coming up next. Jake Lyman, joined by Cory Curtis from News 2 on this Wednesday. It's Next Man Up here on 102.5 The Game. That was Brian Callahan Monday, excuse me, was asked about Cam Ward and whether he has regressed through his first 4 weeks. I agree with him that, tough to put a regression tag on 4 starts for a rookie quarterback, but obviously Sunday was not good. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Cam Ward is a rookie quarterback, and I think through the first 3 starts, you could kind of take it wasn't perfect in any of the first 3 games, but for the most part, I think you looked and said he did positive things. Sunday, outside of the first 2 throws of the game, it really just wasn't good overall for Cam Ward.
No, it wasn't great. I mean, he was 10 for 26.
Yes.
He completed less than 40% of his passes.
For about 4 yards per attempt.
When you're in Anthony Richardson territory, it's not good. Okay. I'm there's a couple things here. Number one, he's back in Houston. So my one concern is he trying to do too much?
1,200 people from his hometown came and visited.
So there's probably a lot of, regardless of how cool he seems to be on the outside, how much internal pressure is he putting on himself? And I would call it a one-off because that's, he had one bad game. Now, if he has a second or third bad game in a row, I'll go, okay, I'm a little concerned about regression here. The area that I am concerned about regression in, though, is I don't know who posted it. I saw it on Twitter. It's the time of release.
Yes.
And it's getting slower. It should be getting faster. And that's a concern. Why is it getting slower? Well, maybe one reason it's getting slower is because this game they actually committed to protecting him a little bit more, and he didn't have as many guys in patterns. And so,
that makes sense.
He has more time to throw. Okay. We thought the protection was better. He only got sacked twice, but he's got fewer places to go with the football. And that's the balance you have to weigh. And I've sat here and pounded the table that you got to keep guys in and you got to protect, but your receivers got to win. Doesn't matter if there's 1 of them out there or 5 of them out there. They got to win. That's their job. All right. And, you can throw guys open, put it in a spot only he can catch it, blah, 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 blah. We can talk about all that. All of it needs to be better because all of it builds on each other. You protect better, you can put more guys in the pattern. Guys win, he can get rid of it faster.
Right.
And that probably would help more than anything, guys winning in their pass routes faster.
Yes. And the wide receivers have not been good enough for the Titans. I mean, Alec Iamaner has been the best of them, but still, it's not like Alec Iamaner is putting up wide receiver 1 numbers. He's putting up what you expect from a rookie.
Like I said, on that interception, though, he's open.
Right.
Now, is he supposed to stop there? I look, only 2 guys know. Well, yes. 3. The head coach knows as well. But, to me, set your feet and throw the ball and put it on him.
Right.
And that didn't happen.
Yes. And that ended up being, like we talked about earlier, one of the final nails in the coffin for the Titans on Sunday, 26-0 loss to the Houston Texans. Speaking of wide receivers, we're seeing this a lot. Ricky in the YouTube chat says,
you're going to talk about Xavier
Restrepo now.
Oh, yeah.
He also says, get Cristobal after the season. Let's just become the Tennessee Hurricanes. We can go 9-3 in the ACC with that team.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
I'm not behind Mario Cristobal being the head coach of the Titans. But I'm still not there on Restrepo coming. And even if they elevated him, even if you elevate him off the practice squad, there are people out there, and I heard Paul talking with Robbie Rexroad about this morning. There are people saying, just put him in for Ridley, 1 for 1. Just put Restrepo in and
play the same position.
They don't play the same position.
Yeah.
And Ridley is fast. That's how he wins. He's fast. He's a good route runner. Restrepo's a good route runner, but even if he got elevated, he's your 7th wide receiver.
Look, if you want to elevate him and you want to see what he's got and sprinkle him in, I'm fine with that. But this notion that he's going to come in and revolutionize the Titans offense
everything
is because he was Cam Ward's favorite target in Miami is absurd. It's absurd. Okay. Look, he might come in and catch 100 passes, but you know what? There's no reason to believe that on an NFL level right now.
Yes.
He didn't do anything in the preseason that showed you that's what was going to happen. Yes, they had a connection. Yes, they work together in college, But I said it last week. Does that mean every college quarterback should bring his favorite target with him to the NFL? It works for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase because
they were both top 5 picks.
Yeah, they're both awesome. They're both awesome. All right. And again, maybe Xavier Restrepo works out. Maybe he does. But just this blanket notion that, yes, he's the answer is crazy. And I guess it's crazy to say, he can't do it. And I'm not saying he can't do it. But
to have this expectation that he is the answer to all your problems is
crazy. I mean, he's going to come down from the heavens. Titans win 34-12 behind 24 catches and 300 yards from Xavier Restrepo.
I mean, we've talked about it with Restrepo before. How many times have the other 31 teams had a chance to take a chance on Xavier Restrepo?
They've got that chance today. They had that chance yesterday.
They have that chance almost eternally.
Yes, and they do. As long as he's on the practice squad, 31 other teams can sign him to their active roster.
They also had 7 rounds of the draft. The undrafted free agent process, I'm sure he wanted to come play with Cam. So the Titans would have had first pick there, but they waived him. They had a chance there. They have a chance now that he's on the practice squad. It's like, I get it. The NFL, you keep the guys in your building who know your stuff. Like, usually there isn't a whole lot of practice squad ceiling. There's some. But, like, if he was this elite player who could step in and become a starting wide receiver as an undrafted free agent like that, the other 31 teams would have taken a chance on him at this point.
Well, I got news for everybody. Regardless of how bad the Titans are right now, they want to win. They want to win. The coaches know they're bad. They don't want to lose their jobs. And if they thought they could take Xavier Restrepo, insert him into the offense, and by golly, everything would be fixed, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yes,
absolutely. So, look, you can say, well, they don't know what they're doing. They're 0-4. I've got no argument for that. You're right. But they are professional football people, most of which who have had success somewhere along the way. And, look, the Titans personnel department for the last 6 years has not been good. Has not been
very bad, actually.
And that's a whole other conversation about who's to blame for where the Titans are at. Because right now, Brian Callen catches 99% of it, and he and his staff have not done well enough, without question. But ask yourself, what have the last drafts, 5-6 of them, 2020, 2021,
right? We went through 2020 to 2023. There are 4 players left on the roster.
Okay. Why are the Titans bad?
Because of that.
Because they don't have players. Why are their highest paid players basically guys who they didn't draft? Because they didn't have any drafted players worth paying except for Jeffrey Simmons.
That's why you have to spend in free agency, because if you don't, you're running a practice squad team out there.
I mean, there's a reason the Chiefs and Packers don't spend a lot in free agency, because they draft and develop well.
Yep.
That's why you hear this draft and develop thing. Because when you draft well, you've got a guy cheap for 4 years.
Right. And that's how you build a Super Bowl contending team, is when you can complement the guys who are paid highly on your team with young, controllable guys who come in and immediately impact your team.
How did the Titans get to the AFC championship game, or the number 1 seed in the AFC? They had a good draft in 2016, had a really good draft in 2019.
Right.
And then hit on Ryan Tannehill, bringing him in on that trade. Those things are what made that happen.
Right.
All right. So you don't get here by accident. And I'm not saying that the coaching staff can't get more out of what they've got. All right. But be realistic. The personnel department has failed. And I'm not just blaming this one. All right. There have been 3. All right.
Yes.
And they have all failed on a massive level to this point. Massive. That's why
we're here.
It's why we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care who's calling the plays. If you don't have the players to run them, it doesn't go well. All right.
I think I saw somebody tweet this week that the Titans had 16 top 100 picks from 2020 to 2023, and only 2 of them are still on the roster. I may be misquoting that, but like that's why you're here. Like, top 100 picks, you should be hitting on those at least as starting level players on like a 70% basis. Like
Caleb Farley, Isaiah Wilson, Traylon Burks, those 3 draft picks, I'm not going to say those 3 players because you obviously missed horribly on all of them, but those 3 picks should all be foundational pieces on your team right now. The one that's on the field right now.
Also add Dylan Radins in there.
That's a
Nicholas
second round
Petit-Frere.
pick.
Like those are guys that you spent
third round pick.
You spent top level draft capital to try and fix the offensive line. And then you had to go spend the 11th overall pick, the 7th overall pick, and $80 million in free agency to fix those mistakes.
Well, and then how much? $7 million for Zeitler?
Yeah, and how much for Cushenberry too?
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, you keep having to pay because you're not capable of drafting someone to come in and play.
Right. If you would pick it, like right now, the Titans should have, if these guys worked out, Isaiah Wilson could be your left tackle, Nicholas Petit-Frere your right tackle, and your left guard's Dylan Radins. Like that's what you drafted those guys to be.
Yeah.
At this point. And guess what? You didn't take Jackson Smith and Jigba at 11 because you had to take Peter Skoronski.
Yeah, he's a good player.
You didn't take Brock Bowers at 7 because you had to take J.C. Latham.
He's a really good player.
And it's like those are Skoronski and Latham are good players, but imagine what this team could be if you didn't have to fill those holes based on the mistakes that you made in previous drafts.
Well, I mean, and cutting Hassan Haskins, and now you have to use a 6th on Khalil Mullings.
Yes.
And so you're wasting another draft pick there.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And yeah, bang on the coaches all you want because they deserve it, but they're not the only ones who deserve it right now.
Yeah.
All right. There's plenty of blame to go around.
It's been a failure for pretty much everybody who's been around this.
I know that's not how this
for the
segment
past
started.
4 years. Yeah, we went on a tangent, but I think it was an important tangent to show why this team's so bad. And guess what? An undrafted free agent wide receiver is not going to fix all of the problems.
No, that's how this started.
Yes.
I mean, but I guess it just goes to show the desperation of the fan base.
Yes,
and I don't blame them. I mean, we bang away on 3-18 for Callahan because it is historically bad.
Yep.
What was Vrabel's last 24 games?
6-18.
6-18.
Yep.
So this isn't that much worse, but you put it together, it's 9-36.
Yes, you have won 20% of your games over the last 3 years, basically.
That is, it's totally inept, and the reason it continues to be inept is because they continue to miss in their draft classes.
Yep.
They try to put it together with duct tape, and duct tape doesn't work in this league. It just doesn't. Teams that draft well win.
Right. And your last couple of draft classes have to hit. You need Latham. You need Sweat to end up being players. You just traded away Jarvis Brownlee. Like you need this whole class to come up and step up if this team's going to get back to being good anytime soon. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. You can text or call. Our phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Couple more thoughts on Cam Ward on the other side. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up here on 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly alongside you on this Wednesday, talking Titans as the Titans look for their first win of the season on Sunday, taking on the Arizona Cardinals in game 2 of a 3-game road trip. We're looking at Cam Ward, and the question was asked of Brian Callahan on Monday whether he thinks his rookie quarterback has regressed through 4 games. And again, it's such a small sample size, I don't even think you can use the word regression.
No.
But in terms of what we saw early on, I think the Broncos game, the Rams game, the Colts game, you left those games feeling decent about Cam Ward.
Yeah.
Even though there were bad moments, you looked at it, and as a whole, you're like, all right, he seems like he knows what he's doing out there.
Well, the Colts game, I think, was his first 200-yard game.
Right. He threw the pick 6 early and then just settled in.
Yeah.
It was just, the Titans were never in that game because the defense couldn't get off the field. On Sunday, he was bad. I mean, 10 of 26 for just over 100 yards.
They couldn't stay on the field.
Yes.
I mean, they were on the field for 22 minutes.
Well, and this is what I talked with Nick Frazier about yesterday is I understand, like, protection. You got to be able to protect the quarterback to take shots downfield. But this team is not good enough to convert 3 third downs on a drive and sustain a drive down.
Not 3 third and longs.
Right. Well, most of their third downs have been 8+.
But okay. Look at, if you got the Titan stats.
I have, yeah.
And tell me, what is Tony Pollard averaging per carry this year? I believe it's 4.2 yards.
He is 68 for 261, 3.8 yards per
3.8
carry.
yards. Forgive me. So that number needs to be better. Okay. And they need to be able to run the ball with more consistency. They're 29th in the league, rushing the football. And it's terrible because that's the part of the game they feel good about.
Yes.
They need to be in more third and manageable situations because then you can scramble for the first down, because the only 2 third downs they converted, I think, were Cam Ward scrambles.
That's how, yeah, I think you're right.
And that's terrible. But that's where you're at, all right? And I don't want to turn Cam Ward into a running quarterback, but again, you have options. You have options at 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, 3rd and 5. And they're better than 3rd and 10 and 3rd and 12, where they can't really pin their ears back so much as after you. So again, I will beat the same drum that I beat last week. They got to win on first down.
Yep.
They got to win on first down. They cut the penalties down dramatically last week. They only had 4. So that's a very good step forward. There weren't a lot of good step forwards last week, but that was one of them. And again, he has to be willing to take some of those easy completions on some of the earlier downs. And maybe they're not there. Maybe they're just not there. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. They're not there. That's possible.
Yeah.
But, more of the 6-yard gain on first down and it's 2nd and 4. And guess what? Your completion percentage is now up over 50%. Because Callie wants that completion percentage up around 70.
Yes, that's what the whole conversation about Will Levis was last year, was like, we want to raise his completion percentage.
It was 70. That's the number he wants.
Cam Ward's at 51 right now.
Yeah, I mean, it was under 40% on Sunday.
Yep.
That's terrible.
And obviously not completing a lot of your passes hurts the yards per attempt number, but 4.9 yards per attempt is horrendous. Like that is bottom of the league level numbers.
No, it's not good. There's a t-shirt for that.
Yes. And again, context, there have been some drops, and it's like that number, both those numbers go up big if Calvin Ridley catches 2 of those 3 passes in Denver.
Look, if you think I'm putting this all on Cam, I am not.
No, not at all.
I am not. But I do point out that despite him being the Messiah, he can play better, and he needs to play better.
Yes. Sunday was a bad day. I think we can leave the regression panic until we see it consistently.
Yeah, let's get to halfway through the season.
Right. It's not going to be a straight line of progress for Cam Ward, but you hope that the overall trend is better throughout the season. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. Let's go to our phone lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Trey is on the line wanting to talk the Titans drafts. Trey, thanks for calling. What you got for us this morning?
Good morning, guys.
What's up?
Good morning, Trey.
Hey, I just, I got a bone to pick with the Titans because
get in line then, man.
because the thing of it is that we go out searching for different recruiters, and I feel like they don't spend enough time as far as like our tri-state area, as far as the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Auburns. You know, it's like we shy away from like
All right, well, you said tri-state first, so that's 3. We're into more states than that.
I know, but the thing of it is that I'd rather see them recruit somebody local, build and mesh with local players, a few local players, rather than get somebody that has a name that doesn't do anything.
Well, look, Trey, I understand what you're saying, because these are guys that you see and you like. Their job they are tasked with is finding good football players, whether they're playing they're not.
But the thing of it is, if you have a $400 million budget and you putting this type of product out on the field, it's inexcusable.
You're right. You are 100% right. We just spent the whole last segment saying that the scouting and the personnel department have completely failed.
Who's doing the scouting? Do we even know?
Well, they have a scouting staff, and it didn't change from Robinson to Rand Carthon.
Yes.
There have been changes made from Carthon to Borgonzi.
Yes, Mike Borgonzi has overhauled the scouting department a little bit.
But the thing is, do y'all agree that it needs to start with our local players?
No, I don't.
They need good players, Trey.
I don't care. I don't care if they're from Mars.
I'm not saying just go and get Poo Johnson. I'm talking about good players from our area.
I know. I don't care. I don't care where they're from.
It
good players.
It doesn't matter.
Chris Johnson played at East Carolina.
Right.
All right. I mean, he was really, really good. Michael Ruse played at Eastern Washington, and he was a great player for this football team.
Right.
All right. So you find great players. Isn't Eastern Washington where Cooper Kupp played?
That is where Cooper Kupp played.
Fantastic football. So I understand what you're saying, but I am saying, bottom line, you find good football players, all right, and that's the job. And by the way, just your local player that you may want might get picked by somebody else first, all right?
Yep.
You've got to take the best player on your board, no matter if he plays for Brown University or if he plays for UCLA, even though they're terrible.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Trey. For college, yes, you recruit your local area because that's the guys who are most likely to come to your school.
You should have an advantage.
You want to dominate that pipeline.
Yeah.
In the NFL, they have so many scouts, they have so many people, they can cover the entire country and go find the best players.
You know what's amazing is the 85 Bears, which is one of the greatest assemblies of talent in NFL history. Jim Finks was their general manager. He had a 4-man scouting department. 4.
Wow.
4-man. And they drafted Richard Dent. They drafted Dan Hampton. They drafted Walter Payton. They drafted Jim McMahon. They drafted Jimbo Covert. They drafted Steve McMichael late.
Yep.
They drafted Keith Van Horn was the right. I mean, they just nailed it every year.
Right.
All right. So it doesn't necessarily take a lot of guys, but it takes competent, good guys. And look, I know there's good people in the Titans scouting department. I'm friends with some of them.
They are in those positions for a reason.
And they don't make the picks.
Yes.
Okay. They make suggestions. All right. Like I know Blake Bedingfield was a very
on the
good
table
scout
for Derrick Henry.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He didn't agree with a lot of what was happening. It's the reason. And I'm not saying that Blake Bedingfield is the answer to all things, but Blake Bedingfield was very good at his job.
Yep.
Very good at his job. And they could use a little Blake Bedingfield, right now. There are other good people there. They need more, and they need to make the right choices.
Yep.
I mean, that's just that simple.
Right.
Because they're not.
There's a lot of dysfunction in this franchise, but it all starts with just pick good players.
Yeah.
And if they can start doing that, this team will get better faster than it has been over the last couple of years. 615.
And you think this year is a decent start?
Yeah. You like the rookie so far.
And while you like the draft so far, they still don't have star players.
No.
They need star players.
And that's what you hope if you end up with a high pick. Either you take a star player there, you trade back, and you can get more star.
Well, I mean, go back to 2019. Jeffrey Simmons, star player. AJ Brown, star player. Amani Hooker, really good player.
Yep. David Long,
for really a short time, was a really good player. I mean, so, you can have a draft where you nail it.
Right.
And you bring in difference makers. 2016.
Right.
Derrick Henry. Jack
Kevin
Conklin,
Byard.
Kevin Byard. Okay.
Yep.
all three of those guys were all pro
Yep.
at one point. All pro, one draft. All right, you can do it.
They've got to get it done. And obviously you like the draft picks from this past year so far, but obviously the jury's still out 4 games in. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We'll continue talking Titans on the other side. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up here on this Wednesday morning, 1025 The Game. That was Brian Callahan on Monday, reflecting on his first game as the head coach, not calling plays. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Cory, I know you have some thoughts on this answer from Brian Callahan, who basically said, yeah, I didn't really know what to do when I wasn't calling plays.
Well, I mean, if anybody watching the stream, they could see my reaction to that answer. I think, again, I like Brian Callahan. I want him to succeed. I do. All right. I don't wish ill will on him. He's been a very nice man to me,
for sure,
and respectful, and I want to be respectful to him in response. But I will respectfully say I do not like that answer at all. I don't like it at all, because as head coach of the football team, you're a lot more than a play caller. You are the head mantle piece. You're the pinnacle. Everything funnels to you. All right. And that answer to me says he doesn't understand what his value is beyond calling plays. And you didn't get this job. You didn't become a head coach just to call plays. You become a head coach to lead a football team. To lead a football team. If you just wanted to call plays, you could have gone and been an offensive coordinator somewhere. He would have gotten that job. But he didn't. He wanted to be a head coach and a play caller. Yep. But it goes in that order.
Right.
It goes in that order. All right. And there's plenty going on during the game. And I've never been a head coach of an NFL football team. So I'm going to just say, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot going on, because I've never, ever heard a coach before say there's really not a lot, going on. And
right.
I just kind of listen, and, you got to lead. You got to be engaged on all of it. And I'm sure I'll defend him some. This is probably just not a great answer from a guy who's dealing with the disappointment of being 0-4,
right,
and of not calling plays anymore, and trying to figure his life out after not calling plays. So I will give him some grace on that. But again, leadership is a full-time thing.
Yes.
And for me, the answer to this question is, it was great. I was fully engaged on everything the entire game. I was able to lock in on offense, defense, special teams, what we were going to do on every series. I was able to communicate more directly with more of the players. But basically sounds like he was like, I was a little lost trying to figure it out. And that's, to me, not the message that this team needs to hear at 0-4. I think I said it last week. When you're in command.
Yes.
All right. That's from Midway. All right. That's from Admiral Halsey. I'm stealing that line.
It's a great movie.
It's the original is better
than the remake. Yeah. That came out 5 years ago?
The remake is fine. I've watched it 100 times. But the original with Robert Mitchum played Admiral Halsey in that one is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's a true story. And it's a docudrama, whatever.
Yes.
It's great. But you have to lead. And leadership is not underrated. It's not underrated. And, you've got to be that command presence. And when you give an answer like that, it doesn't scream command. It screams, I'm out here trying to figure it out with you guys. And that's not what they need right now. They need, I don't want to say an iron fist, but they need a stern,
a leader of men.
They need a firm grip. They need a firm grip to say, guys, I know we're going through a hard time. We're making some changes. I got this. This is going to make us better. All right. And, optics matter. Messaging matters. Yes. And messaging, I guess that's my bottom line. Messaging could have been better on this. And I am not one to pick apart words. And so I've struggled with this for a few days and sat on it. And then I told you I did want to talk about it because it bothers me.
Brian Callahan, obviously things have not gone the way that he's wanted to. Like when you imagine your dream job, he did not think I'm going to be 3-18 and have to give up play calling halfway through year one.
And again, he took over a bad football team.
It's not all his fault.
No,
but he definitely takes some of the blame. And I think the one thing with Brian Callahan this year is yes, he's done some bad things and made some mistakes coaching the games, but it does seem like every time he steps up to the podium, he finds a way to make it worse with what he says. Like the way he explained the Alec Iamaner thing and then kind of talked himself in circles there and talked himself in circles a little bit about the about changing play calling. And
maybe there needs to be a little more pregame prep before he goes to the podium.
Right.
And I know there's people who work there who are supposed to communicate with him before he goes in there, and maybe they go over some of the messaging that goes out. And believe me, I like Brian that he is honest and he doesn't try to hide from issues.
No, not at all.
I mean, like PK asked him about if there's a feeling of hopelessness in the building. This is best answer of the day.
Yeah.
Best answer of the day. That was a good answer.
Yep.
That was command. That was a message of, not only is there no hopelessness in the building, we're excited to be able to dig out of this hole and show the world that we're better than this. That's the messaging that needs to be there. And I ran that soundbite and did a whole segment on it on Monday because I thought this was the best thing he said today.
Yes.
But I've been sitting on this one for 2 days because it has not sat well with me. And that's, I have an old saying is you can't do the right thing some of the time. You got to do it all the time.
Yep.
And when you're the head coach, you got to do the right thing all the time.
Yep. And he said when he relinquished play calling duties that he was brought here to be a play caller, but mostly he was brought here to be the head coach. You've got to go out and be the head coach in those situations. And we'll see. Maybe Sunday was, an adjustment period for a lot of people in new roles. This week's a big one. I mean, you 0-5 quickly spirals to 0-6. You're back home against the Patriots. You're 0-7. Like, you've got to find a way to get you have to win a football game at some point.
And I think that's the exactly right way to think about it, Jake. You need to check the egos at the door. And that's not just the coaching staff, that's the players. And I know that Brian told these guys after the game, or I think it was after the Colts game, we need to look in the mirror.
Right.
All of us. And he's right. Everybody needs to look in the mirror. I mean, and I think Cam Ward's meltdown, and I don't know if we call it a meltdown, but I mean, for him, he's been so cool and at ease answering questions about the struggles. He was visibly frustrated. And they need some of that. They need someone to come out and say, not good enough. Embarrassing.
Right. There needs to be a response because so far it's kind of all been more of the same since losing that Broncos game. Yep. It's like, you've seen good moments at times, but the team hasn't stepped up and made plays when they need to. You gotta have somebody step up and say, hey, we're going to turn this thing around right now and we're going to go win a football game.
Well, and I hate to say it needs to be Cam Ward, because he's a rookie playing his 4th NFL football game.
Yeah.
When they went to Atlanta and they had those group practice sessions,
the very bad first one.
And the first one was brutal. I mean, I was there and I watched it and they just got smoked. Okay. And Cam on his own stood up in front of the whole group and told them I wasn't good enough. And none of us were good enough.
Yep.
But it starts with me. And sent that message to everybody that they needed to be better. All right. Because that's the guy they drafted. And I hate to put it on him, but as Ted Lasso told Roy Kent, it has to be you.
Yep.
It has to be you, Jane Eyre.
We'll see what happens this week. We'll talk more about the Titans and Cardinals coming up later in the show. Last week, when Cory was on, we looked ahead to Vandy, Alabama, and Cory said he's picking the Commodores.
I'm sticking with it, baby.
We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Second hour, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, joined by Cory Curtis from News 2 for his weekly visit to the program. Parker Kelly with us on the board. We are broadcasting from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. Talked a lot of Titans in hour number 1. We will get back to the Titans as they prepare for their Week 5 matchup with the Cardinals, looking for their first win of the season. But a more important game coming up this Saturday. Vanderbilt on the road at Alabama. Commodores number 16 in the country. They are 5-0, looking to beat the Tide for the second straight year. And Cory, you picked Vanderbilt to beat Alabama last week when you were on. Alabama with the big win over Georgia in Athens this weekend.
Did you see what the line opened at?
Yes, 12.5.
13.5.
It opened at 13. Man, it's down to, I think, 10.5 now.
I don't understand that at all.
Yeah, I mean,
I know Vegas knows what they're doing,
right?
But I don't get that.
It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Obviously Alabama's more talented, in terms of just 4-star, 5-star guys. Yeah. It's in Tuscaloosa, but I don't know how you look at the way these two teams have played this year and say that Vandy's not at least within a touchdown of Alabama.
I thought the line was going to be 5.5, 6.5.
I was thinking, right around 6 was kind of my thought.
And when I heard it was 13.5, my eyes about popped out of my head. I mean, usually I've got a pretty good idea where the lines are going to be, and I was way off on that one. And I will continue to pound the table that I think Vanderbilt will be right there in the fourth quarter. I was wrong. I thought Alabama would get crushed by Georgia.
I think we all did.
I've got a theory on that, and you can tell me if I'm crazy on it or not, because we've talked about Alabama still has the players.
Right.
And we talked about Kalen DeBoer and his coaching staff. They're good coaches. They didn't forget how to coach.
Yeah, they've proven that at multiple stops that they win everywhere they go.
So this is what I think is going on at Alabama. I think when you replace an icon like Nick Saban, it's tough. It's tough for the kids who are there to look at you and follow you the same way they follow Nick Saban.
Right.
So what games are they losing?
The games when they are favored. Yeah, the games they should win.
I mean, they've been losing to unranked teams.
Right, yeah.
So it to me, it says we're not real focused. We're not buying in. But when Georgia comes to town, we're ready.
Right.
We're re-locked in. We're with you, coach. We want to win this game. We want to beat Georgia. We're going to play, whoever. We don't really care.
Yeah. I think that's fair.
And so I think it's just going to take a few recruiting cycles for Kalen DeBoer to get his guys in. And I hate to sound like a coach and say my guys, but I'm saying from a buy-in aspect to where they're more consistent. Now, I do think Alabama's going to show up for this one.
Yes. We've said it before. Like, this one isn't going to slip their minds. They've had this one circled for about a year. We've got the poster up in studio now of October 5th of last year. So almost 365 days later, Alabama, they've been ready for this one.
Yeah. And so I think Vanderbilt needs to survive the opening salvo because I think it's going to be massive.
Yeah.
Massive. I mean, it's going to be just a bombardment. And all they have to be is in the game in the fourth quarter.
Right.
And we'll see if their offensive line can do what they've done the first 5 games, which is wear out the other team. And I know it's Alabama, but we'll see. I mean, they've got a bunch of 23, 24-year-old grown men on that offensive line who are really good for Vanderbilt this year. We'll see if they can wear Alabama out and if they can get the ball to Pavia with a chance to win the game. Because if they do, I like number 2.
Yeah. The way Pavia has been playing, I think it'd be crazy to think that he's not at least going to be in that game late.
Yep.
This is a Vandy team that they've gone on the road to 2 hostile environments and sent the crowd home in the third quarter.
Has not
twice.
Been a problem.
Like they've been able to handle it. I'm not saying they're going to win. I think it is going to be a close game late.
Yeah.
And it's whichever quarterback can go make a play. And I'm kind of with you. Like if you ask me, do you want Pavia or Simpson right now? I'd take Diego Pavia.
I think you'd be crazy not to.
Right.
And I know Simpson's play
he's played well lately.
Has elevated. But his play has elevated. Pavia is a playmaker.
Yes. Pavia when you need to play most, I don't know if there's a quarterback you want in the country other than Diego Pavia.
Is he
now.
completing 74% of his
it's
passes?
Up there. Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, and Clark Lee talked about it, this week that, while people like to talk about Diego and the kind of guy he is, because he brings that on himself, he's gotten a lot better.
Right.
He's better than he was a year ago at throwing the football.
Yeah. I'm sure not everybody out there listening watched Vandy, Utah State. Go watch his second and third touchdown passes to Junior Sherrill on Saturday. Those were back shoulder,
elite
could not have run out and handed the ball to him in a better spot.
Again, what's it, Mateer?
Yeah, John Mateer.
He's like second in the Heisman race.
Right.
If John Mateer stepped foot on the Vanderbilt campus today and put on a uniform and you said, which quarterback are you going to start? It wouldn't even be a decision.
Well, I don't know anything here, but I had seen a report that if Pavia didn't come back, Vandy was going to try and get Mateer.
Yeah.
But once Pavia came back, they said, nope, we got our guy.
The only thing holding him back in the Heisman chase is that V on his helmet.
Right.
That's
it. The game he had this past week has moved his odds up. I believe he's back he's now into the top 10 in odds.
He was like 18
last
week. So he's moved up considerably. This is this team's and this quarterback's moment.
Yes,
it is.
If you want to establish yourself as national contenders, you can be a top 10 team when LSU comes to town in 2 weeks. You go win this game.
And Pavia becomes a top 5 Heisman candidate.
Pavia, if he wins this game and, it isn't just a defensive struggle, he might be the Heisman favorite after this week.
He'll definitely be in the top 3.
I think it would be him and Dante Moore.
Yeah, I would say the kid from Oregon is riding pretty high right now.
Right, after that Penn State win. But he would definitely be right there in the, hey, Pavia's probably heading to New York conversation. He'd probably be right where Hendon Hooker was after Tennessee beat Alabama. Right? Kind of a little bit of doubt of is he really that good? And then he goes in and beats Alabama, and it's all right, yeah, Hendon Hooker's a Heisman candidate.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, this is, you say, you want your respect, blah, blah, blah. This is your chance to get it.
Yep.
Everybody, by the way, 2:30 on News 2.
On News 2, yes.
On News 2, we got a great lineup. Can I boast the lineup?
Go ahead.
Kentucky, Georgia.
Yep.
And then we've got Vandy and Alabama. And then at night, we got Miami and Florida State.
Yeah.
So really, if you've got a good speed dial for your pizza company, you just don't need to move.
Yep. Find a nice spot on your couch.
TN Nation after the news.
Yeah. There you go. You got football on News 2 all day. Game day is in Alabama, so you can watch that on ESPN, then flip over to News 2. You don't have to touch the remote the rest of the day. Pavia's stats, 74.6% completion, 1,211 yards, 9.6 yards per attempt, 13 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Also leads them in rushing.
294 yards on the ground. That's 6 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns. And don't forget, in college football, they count sacks as negative rushing yards for the quarterback. So that 294 and 6.1 yards per attempt includes any sacks he's had. It's only 3, but the net yardage, the gross yardage is more.
They've got a running back, Macklin Young.
MK Young. Yep.
He's averaging 10 yards a carry.
Yes. He has two or three 60-yard runs this year. And it's hilarious how, sitting up there in the booth and watching Andrew do the broadcast.
Yeah.
The spotter, whoever it is, I've done it before, but he has a spotter up there. And every single play, Andrew needs to know who the running back is because they just rotate these 4 guys in and out. And it's you got 28, you got 22, you got 23.
Do any of them have 40 carries yet?
Let's see.
I don't think so. I know Young's got 4 touchdowns, and I think Alexander's got 5.
Well, and I think heading into this week, they had 4 games with 4 different rushing leaders.
Mm-hmm.
That's so right now, Cedric Alexander has 46 carries.
Okay.
But MK Young has 20. Yeah, he's averaging 10.6 yards per
But he's
carry.
got 4 touchdowns on 20 touches.
Yes, he does.
Which is
so
ridiculous.
20% of his touches have gone to the house.
So he needs to touch the ball more.
James L. Lassiter, who is a walk-on, 8 carries for 144 yards.
So he's better.
18 yards per carry and 2 touchdowns on 8 attempts. And then AJ Newberry, 11 carries, 43 yards, but he has 3 touchdowns too.
But what do those numbers all tell you? That they've got great running backs?
They have a great offensive line.
That's exactly it.
Yep. And they have Tim Beck knows how to design plays.
And how many times has Pavi been sacked?
3.
Okay.
Yep.
Those
So-
guys up front. This is the best Vanderbilt offensive line we've ever seen.
Yep.
We've ever seen. Does that mean that does that guarantee victory at Alabama? No, it doesn't. But they are built to go toe to toe with Alabama in the trenches.
Yep. And if you're counting Vandy out this weekend, I don't know what to tell you. They might lose the game, but also we've seen people saying like, "Oh, let's see you call them a playoff contender when they lose to Alabama this weekend." Guess what? They lose to Alabama, they're still a playoff contender.
Yeah,
they still have the games in front of them to go get into the playoffs.
Yes. Now, if they win this one, they're ahead of the game.
Yes, you put yourself in a position where you have some leeway.
Yes, you can drop the game to LSU. You can drop, not to say you want to, but there's more room for error the rest of the way.
Right. Like if you win on Saturday at Alabama, you could lose at home to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
You could lose on the road at Texas. And if you can take care of business in your other home games against Missouri, Kentucky, and Auburn, you head to Neyland Stadium playing for a playoff spot.
That's what we're all hoping for, that's for a playoff spot. Not for Tennessee or Vanderbilt, for both of them.
Right.
Make it a playoff game.
Outside of like, again, I work with Vanderbilt, with their women's basketball team, with their football broadcast, but it's like, just as a football fan, I want that. Vanderbilt and Tennessee for a playoff spot in Neyland Stadium.
Absolutely. Aguilar versus Pavia.
Right. That is just great television. It is great drama, and I really hope that we get it coming up at the end of November. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you want to text or call, we'll get to your calls coming up next. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman and Cory Curtis. More Vandy and Alabama talk coming up on the other side here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Well done, Parker. Getting ready for some football in the South this Saturday. Vanderbilt heading down to Tuscaloosa. College game day will be there. Kickoff at 2:30 on News 2. So make sure you tune in for that. You can also listen in right here on 102.5 The Game with pregame starting at 1 o'clock. Let's go to our phone lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Carl is on the line wanting to talk about Vandy. Carl, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks. Enjoy your show while I'm not running in the morning. This Vanderbilt team, I wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things. This Vanderbilt team reminds me a lot of a team that George McIntyre coached back in the early 80s with a guy named Whit Taylor. Had a couple of really good receivers. Alama Matthews went on to have a stellar season in several seasons in the NFL. And then there was another guy, like Parker or Parks, I can't remember, but Whit Taylor played in the USFL and had some very good success there, I think, down with the Birmingham Stallions. Who do you think is going to be playing on Sundays? I feel like Eli Sowers for sure, Diego Pavia. I want to hear your thoughts on other possible NFL guys. And the other last thing, Clark Lee, what a low-key, get-it-done kind of guy. I believe that he will go in there and have them in the right mindset and take care of business in Tuscaloosa. I really do. I think they understand to be level-headed with this game. And from there, let's beat the Crimson Tide. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, I agree with Clark Lee. Will have them prepared and emotionally prepared. They went into Blacksburg. They went into Columbia. Those are two emotional places. I worked in Columbia a long time.
Yep.
And look, I've seen a lot of hostile environments there. I've seen a lot of hostile environments there get closed down really fast. But
so it was a great start to the game.
That was a big game for Vanderbilt going to Columbia. They were number 11 in the country. Sellers is a Heisman candidate.
Right.
And
South Carolina came in here and beat Vandy 28-7 last year too.
Yeah. And so they handled it. So, they will be ready for that environment. And that's not to say it's not an amazing environment in Alabama. I'm just saying that this Vanderbilt team, they've been in the SEC a while. They've seen these environments, and winning in them is not easy.
Yeah.
But I think they'll be as prepared as they can be. As for NFL players, it's a good question.
Yep.
I think Eli Sowers is obviously, where it starts for them.
Right.
I think when you look at, Junior Sherrill and where he is at, you would think he is going to get, I don't know where he goes in the draft, but he'll be somewhere in a camp when he's done at Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think Trey Richardson too, who they brought in, he was a D2 guy, but he's got track speed. Yeah. I would think an NFL team would take a chance on him because
if you can run, you'll get somebody's attention.
Right. He's going to run a real good number at the combine or his pro day or wherever he ends up working out.
What's the middle linebacker's name?
Langston Patterson.
Yeah. He's a tackling machine.
They've got a couple of pieces on defense who I don't know if they're draft picks, but they're good. Like they're good players who I think are going to get a look. Patterson would be one. Randon Fontenette is a really good player. The safety they brought in from FAU, CJ Hurd, they call him the Sea Snake. I don't know. Have you seen House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones spinoff?
No, I have not.
There's a guy with like blonde dreads in that. And CJ Hurd's got that going for him. So he's a really good player.
Who's the second tight end?
I'm blanking.
Because he was the guy they were pumping up last year.
Right.
That they thought was going to be.
They got Bryson Coleman, 82, and 16. Cole Spence. Cole Spence.
Cole Spence was supposed to be the guy last year.
Yes.
And then Stowers comes in and just lights it up. So, that's another guy. Cole Spence could be another guy who you don't hear a lot about at Vanderbilt, but gets a chance somewhere in the NFL. And because he does everything well, could possibly, catch on. But the bigger question is Pavia.
Right.
And we debate it all the time.
Yes. This conversation has been had many times of like, does he get a chance? I think he does get a chance in an NFL locker room.
Somebody's going to want to see what that's all about.
Right.
Like I could see Sean Payton saying, I want to see what that's all about.
And especially like the arm looks better this year. It's still not NFL level arm strength, but it looks a little bit more competent this year of him being able to get the ball down the field. He has more zip on his intermediate throws. Like, I think somebody is going to bring him into a camp.
What if you're the New York Giants and you're going to roll with Jackson Dart next year? You've already decided that, but you're not 100% sold on him. And you say you're drafted in the 6th round or the 5th round.
Yeah.
And you say, you know what, we're going to take Pavia and we're going to see what we got. And maybe we get something if Dart can't play.
Right. Or you look at like the New York Jets who have Fields at quarterback right now. He's not a long-term answer, but maybe.
Could you imagine Pavia playing in New York?
I think he would embrace that.
Oh, he'd be Joe Namath.
It's like all he would have to do is have one good game, and he would become the biggest story in all of sports.
Well, and if this season finishes for him, kind of like we're projecting it, it's a lot of voltage to bring into the backup position, and that can be problematic for some teams.
I mean, that's a lot of the reason why I think Shedeur Sanders fell as far as he did. Is like,
hey, I agree with that.
Why do we want to bring this guy into the room when all he's going to do is distract our starting quarterback? And you look, the Browns, they just made a quarterback change, and it's not Shedeur Sanders.
It's Dylan Gabriel time, baby.
So, and it's fine. We got a caller. I forget who it was. It wasn't Trey. I don't want to bash on Trey as much as we do. But a caller called in and said that the Titans should have taken Dart or Sanders over Cam Ward. And I'm like, okay, well, again, the Giants, I said it during the break. If you called up Joe Shane and Brian Daboll right now and said, hey, we'll give you Cam Ward for Jackson Dart straight up, they would do it in a heartbeat.
Yep.
They were willing to give up a ton to come up and get Cam Ward. And Shedeur Sanders is still the 3rd string quarterback behind another rookie on the Browns. So,
who's got questionable NFL skills.
Like, this is it's a conversation that's always going to be brought up because everybody loves to compare.
Yep.
But there was no question. It was always Cam Ward for the Titans.
And for the entire NFL.
Yeah, right. Like the entire NFL had Cam Ward as the number 1 quarterback.
Yes.
Like this was not a question.
If the Titans didn't want to take him,
somebody else would have come up.
Yeah. And if it wasn't the Giants, there would have been another team that would have come up to get Cam Ward.
Right. Chip from Mount Juliet asks, how does Pavia compare to Baker? He has the fire, but what about the skills? It's a good comparison.
It is, but Baker's got a cannon.
Yes. Baker, I think, fit the NFL mold a little bit better, even though he's the shorter, stockier quarterback.
But the similar kind of path.
Right.
I mean, he didn't play.
He went to Texas Tech and then was a walk-on at Texas Tech.
That's
transferred to Oklahoma.
Yeah. So, another overseen guy.
Right.
And I think that's a good comparison.
Yeah.
Because he's 6 feet tall.
Well, guess who the big comparison is?
Johnny Manziel.
And
he's going to be at the game.
Who's going to be on the sideline on Saturday?
He's going to be at the game.
Johnny Manziel says he will be wearing a Vanderbilt jersey on the sideline in Alabama.
See, I understand that comparison, but I think Johnny Manziel was more of a street ball player.
Yes.
And I don't think Pavia is.
Pavia plays within that offense.
They design runs for him.
It's an interesting offense that Tim Beck runs. It's not conventional.
Yeah.
But it's not Johnny Manziel was more of the Cam Ward, like backyard football, sling it kind of player. I think if Pavia, we were talking about, if Pavia goes and wins the Heisman, which again, not likely, but very possible.
It's in the realm of possibility.
It is in the realm of possibility.
Yes, it is.
If he won the Heisman, I think you would see somebody take a chance on him with a higher draft.
Well,
pick
yeah. Well, and that's the thing is like I'm kind of poo-pooing where he goes in the draft right now. It could move way up.
Right. If I had to guess right now, I would say 7th round. But he's got 7 games at least left this year to go out and raise that stock.
We talk about the quarterback position and the intangibles.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so many guys who are 6'5" with a cannon arm, and they can't play the position for a hill of beans.
Right. Paxton Lynch.
Sure.
Josh Rosen is one that we've talked about.
There's a guy, gosh, he played like at Oregon State. I can't remember his name. He's been with like the Vikings and some teams, but
yeah,
I mean, Zach Mettenberger,
right?
Guys who look the part. The guys who win are the guys who are driven. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady,
right?
These guys are driven for greatness, and he's got that it factor.
Yep,
and that does not grow on trees. The question is, how does it weigh with everything else?
Right.
And how much are you willing to bet on it?
You still need the other things because like Tim Tebow had all the drive and the winning that you could possibly want.
But he couldn't play quarterback.
He couldn't play quarterback. So you need both, but definitely the mental side of it and the.
I think Pavia can play quarterback.
I think is it. I don't want to get bashed for this. I think he can play quarterback better than Tim Tebow
in the NFL. Yes,
right. Like I think his traits are better than Tim Tebow's were for an NFL quarterback.
Tim Tebow made throws in the NFL that just made you cringe.
Right. But Tim Tebow, for a college quarterback, he was
Fantastic.
unstoppable.
He's one of the greatest college players of all time.
Again, not trying to take that away from him, but
no.
As an NFL prospect, like I think you can look and see Pavia does better things than Tim Tebow does.
This is another conversation, but I think one of the interesting things about Tim Tebow was when the NFL learned we just have to make him play quarterback. Because I remember they won that playoff game because he threw the overtime
to
deep ball.
Demaryius Thomas.
Because what did the Steelers do? They blitzed him.
Yes,
they blitzed him. They went all out.
Everybody.
And so he was just able to play street ball and just chuck it down the field. Like I remember when he went to the Jets and the Titans, and he came against the Titans.
Yeah.
And they just sat back and they just covered and just rushed him with like 4. And it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't read the defense and he couldn't make an accurate throw. And that was that.
Right.
And so that's that's why we say NFL teams figure you out.
Right.
They just need to see you a few times. And that's that's why a lot of these guys struggle year 2. That's why they have that sophomore slump.
Yeah.
These teams, they got 16 examples of you and they go after you.
Yeah. The moment that everyone remembers Tebow's NFL career for is that throw to Demaryius Thomas.
Yeah.
Maybe don't watch the tape for the next week against the Patriots if you want to see.
I think he was 2 for 19.
It was horrible.
I think he was 2 for 19 in that game in regulation.
Yeah. He was awful in that game and
horrible.
Made the throw to Thomas, and then the Patriots just destroyed them the next week.
Yeah, God. It was terrible.
615-737-1025 is the phone number. We can stay on this for a little bit because we're getting some good interaction on the text line. We'll get to some of your phones coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. Wrapping up our conversation on Vanderbilt and Alabama on Saturday. Diego Pavia and the Commodores looking to get to 6-0, possibly a top 10 ranking. Game day in town, in Titletown, before a bye week. Vandy then comes home to take on LSU. Don't forget, Andrew Allegretta, voice of the Commodores, will be on with us tomorrow at 11 a.m. to preview that game. Should be a fun conversation, and you can listen to him and the whole crew. Carl on the phone line was mentioning that early 80s team with Norman Jordan in the backfield, who is the analyst for Vandy on the radio. So excited for that one on Saturday. Again, 1 o'clock pregame, 2:30 kickoff from Tuscaloosa. Thomas on a car phone on our text line says, real quick, because you guys mentioned Baker Mayfield, have you guys seen the Eli Manning show on Amazon where Mayfield disguises himself and acts like he is a fan at a Tampa Bay practice facility tour? Freaking hilarious. He does have a cannon. Yeah. And the Chad Powers show just came out on Hulu yesterday with Glenn Powell being the quarterback who goes back to
I think Eli Manning is a producer.
He is, because he did the Chad Powers skit where he put on the makeup and he went to a Penn State walk-on tryout and just lit it up. So this is like a sitcom about a player who does that, and Glenn Powell, who is this disgraced former quarterback,
really does a nice job of making you think he's the worst human on earth.
Yes, yeah. I mean, right off the bat, within 3 minutes of the show starting, you're like, man, I hate this guy. And it's actually, the first 2 episodes came out yesterday. I've watched most of it. Like, it's actually a pretty decent show.
Yeah. It's a show for guys.
It set the expectations low within the first 5 minutes. I was like, oh, this might not be very good. And I have laughed out loud a couple of times at the show.
You know, when you see what the story is, much of it is very predictable.
Yeah.
But like you said, there's some laughs along the way, and it's a show about football, and I'm guessing about redemption,
right?
And some of those things, and those are all things I enjoy.
Yeah.
So, again, if you take it too seriously, you're gonna be like, oh, this show's garbage. Just enjoy it.
It's not going to win any Emmys, but it's
maybe not.
It was,
you don't know.
It was entertaining.
There's not a whole lot out there these days.
That is very true. You mentioned during the break that we're comparing Diego Pavia to people. The quarterback in that show
is Johnny Manziel.
Yes,
they're absolutely.
They have Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit doing a little cameo as the broadcasters right off the bat, and they're like, he had the club incident and the beating up a guy on the street incident. And it's like, yeah, that's Johnny Manziel right there. So I thought it was interesting. But yeah, Baker Mayfield did one of those disguise things too and showed off the arm. Diego doesn't have a Baker Mayfield-like arm. No. But definitely you can see this year that his fastball is different than it was last year. He's windows that he can throw into are.
Well, I said to you in the break, he's 74% completion percentage, and he's not doing that checking down.
No,
he throws the ball down the field, and he throws it with great accuracy.
I would love, maybe I can find this. What is his average depth of target? Because that'll tell you what.
I think his average yards per throw is 9.
It's over 9.
Yeah, which is really good.
Let's see. Average depth of target. Last year it was 10.6, but I don't think I have one from this year. So, but I would guess it's higher than that. And they have moved the ball downfield. Yes, there's it. I don't want to call it a gimmicky offense, but there is a lot of bells and whistles to that offense. Smoke and mirrors from Tim Beck of there's some option elements to it. Mm-hmm. And they like to get Diego Pavia on the run, but man, he can play from the pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, he's thrown for 1,200 yards.
Right, in 5 games.
He just threw 5 touchdowns in 1 game.
And ran for a 6th.
Yeah.
No, Diego Pavia has proven that he's not just a gimmicky quarterback. He can play quarterback, and this is a big week against Alabama because I think Alabama realized last year that they could not stop the option early in that game of Diego Pavia was making the right decisions of keeping and giving and all that, and Alabama couldn't stop it. I think they're going to try and shut that down and make Pavia beat him with his arm.
I think that's what I would do.
And
I mean, Vanderbilt's averaging 6.5 yards per carry.
Right.
This year. So you've got to, if you can't slow that down, you're not going to stop him.
Right.
I mean, that's 2 carries and a first down.
Yep.
So if you're Alabama, it has to start at the line of scrimmage. I did a Zoom yesterday with Fozzie Whitaker, the analyst, and we talked about this football game, and he talked about last year's game. And he said last year's game was not a fluke. Vanderbilt was the more physical football team. And that goes to the whole showing up ready to play thing.
Right.
And they're only more prepared physically to go toe-to-toe with Alabama this year. Now, I'm sure Alabama's going to have a better response this year. But, physicality at the line of scrimmage is going to determine a lot of what Diego Pavia and the Commodores are able to do in this football game. If they're able to man up with Alabama's defensive line, and still, I don't expect them to run at 6.5 yards per carry, but if they can go 4.5 yards per carry, they're still in business.
And even though Vanderbilt is more talented, I think the game plan is going to be the same. They want those long, sustained, keep away drives where they keep Alabama's offense off the field. And that's going to start with the run game, staying ahead of the sticks and continuing to matriculate down the field.
Well, and look, and if you can get an early lead, because Vanderbilt, you're in their head right now.
Yep.
And you can put them on tilt if you get an early lead.
Right.
That doesn't win the game for you, but it could lead to an early mistake.
Yes. Last year, Vandy went right down the field and scored, and then Milroe threw the pick six on the next drive. And all of a sudden, they missed the extra point, but it was 13-0 like that.
Yep.
And Alabama came back. They made it a game. If they had gotten the ball back with less than 2 minutes left, they very well could have just gone down the field and scored.
But how did Vanderbilt get the first down to close out the game?
Diego Pavia.
Running the football.
Yep.
Running the football.
Yep.
And so, we'll see, if Alabama can do what no one has done this year, and that's slow down the running attack for Vanderbilt, which has been, we talk about Pavia. It starts at the line of scrimmage and averaging 6.5 yards a carry.
Yep.
That's where it starts.
100%. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. If you have thoughts, we will transition back to the NFL coming up next. More Titans talk in the final hour of the show. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game, Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, finishing up hour number 2 here on the program. Going to get back into the Titans in just a second. See if the Titans can find a way to win a game this week. It's been a while. Titans really need to see one go through the net and get back in the win column. But did want to just look around the NFL. I know it's not a 16-game schedule anymore, so you can't split it up into perfect quarters, but we are right around a quarter of the way through the season.
Does anyone like it at 17?
I don't. I kind of wish they went back to 16.
Yeah.
But, they don't
I know
they don't ask my opinion.
No, I agree. Sometimes less is more.
Yes. And it was just nice that you could split it up into perfect quarters. And, you always had 8-8 was always kind of the middle. And it's like, all right, if you're above 8-8, you're probably a playoff team. Below, you're probably picking the top 12 of the draft. But biggest surprises through the first quarter of the season. And I think the AFC South is where you have to look. And we mentioned this earlier. Colts and Jags are both 3-1. Is that something we think can sustain? Because I just don't know if the Texans are all that good to make up a 2-game deficit, especially when they've already lost to the Jaguars this year.
Well, I hate to say I told you so, but I told everybody I thought the Colts were better than everybody thought they were going to be. I said if Daniel Jones can just be average, they've got a roster that I felt like could win games. And that's what they're doing. I mean, they should have beat the Rams.
Right.
They blew it.
Yeah.
They blew it.
A.D. Mitchell. I mean,
it's a tough day.
I'm surprised they let him on the team playing back home.
That's a tough day.
I mean, that is to drop the ball, to pull a Russ Holiday, Deshaun Jackson, drop the ball before you get into the end zone.
But then they gave up an 88-yard touchdown to follow it.
Well, and Jonathan Taylor also scored a touchdown, a 58-yard touchdown, and guess who got called for holding?
Oh, A.D. Mitchell.
A.D. Mitchell.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. Yeah, I mean, look, I think the Colts are sustainable. Okay. How many wins, I don't know. But I think they're going to win the AFC South.
I just don't see the Texans being good enough to dig out of this hole.
No, I don't think they are.
I mean, they scored 6 points through 3 quarters against the Titans.
I guess they get Tank Dell back. But
Joe Mixon.
But their offensive line's terrible.
Yeah.
Their offensive line's terrible.
It's hilarious how bad the offensive line was last year. And they said, you know what? We're going to switch out all 5 of them and just see what works. And guess what? Usually you can't replace all 5 of your offensive linemen in one offseason.
So the Colts have another game with the Titans. They've got to play the Jags twice. They've got to play the Texans twice. I think I certainly see the Colts getting to 9 wins.
And that might be all it takes to win this division.
I mean, I don't know the rest of their schedule. I would bet at this point that they'll probably get to 9 or 10.
So they're actually flipped with the Titans right now. So Titans play Cardinals Raiders the next 2 weeks. They play Raiders Cardinals.
Yeah, and I think the Colts will be favored in both those games.
Both those games are at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Yeah, they'll definitely be favored in both those games.
Got games against the Titans. They've got the Falcons. They've got the Texans and Jags. Their schedule is actually pretty tough. Like, they do have to play.
Well, they should be on the same track as the Titans.
Right, but they're playing are they playing a second place schedule?
Yes.
Yes, because they were better than the Jags last year.
Yeah, but that's just a couple games.
Right. But they still have to play 49ers, Seahawks, which Titans do too. Chiefs, Steelers, Chargers. So there's some games that are going to be tough in there, but I agree. It's like you can see a path to 9 wins for them. And do I trust the Jaguars with Liam Cohen as the head coach?
No.
To win 9 games with
I don't trust
Trevor Lawrence as the quarterback?
I don't trust Trevor Lawrence. And congratulations on the win in San Francisco. I did not believe that they could do it.
I did not either. Brock Purdy kind of gave that one away.
And so I'm sitting here eating crow on the Jaguars. They are 3-1. Congratulations to them. But if you're asking me which one of the two is more sustainable, I would bet on the Colts. And that's another team that I like to give grief to because they have not been relevant since 2014. But I think that ends this year.
Yeah, that's the last time they won the division, I believe.
Yep. And then the last time they won in Jacksonville.
And you look at the Jaguars ahead of their bye week, they've got Chiefs, Seahawks, Rams. Decent chance they lose all 3 of those games. Mm-hmm. And the Colts could have themselves a pretty comfortable lead heading into the back half of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm with you. I picked the Colts to finish last in this division heading into the year. I had the Texans winning with like 10 wins. And then I had the rest of the 3 all between like 4 and 6. And the Colts have surprised me. I ate crow last week when they came in here and destroyed the Titans, and I'll continue to do it because the Colts are way better than I expected them to be.
I had Houston, Indy. I think I had Titans and then Jacksonville just because I always pick Jacksonville last.
I mean, it's usually a decent assumption.
Yes, it is. But I thought that the Colts were going to be, and again, I'm making the same argument that I've made. I thought that they were going to be more competitive than people thought just if Daniel Jones could be average, and he's been better than average.
Yeah, no, he's been good.
And that's why they're 3-1, could have been 4-0. And, you say, is it sustainable? Well, okay, look at the Eagles. Jalen Hurts, how's he been this year?
Meh.
Not good.
Yeah.
Not good. So bad that you're hearing stories of the star wide receivers talking about going and playing with Dak Prescott.
Right.
I mean, so much for winning Super Bowls. They don't care about that. They care about catching the football. But the point is, you can be okay at quarterback if you have a great team around you. The Eagles still have the best roster in the league, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And so he can throw for 130 yards.
Right.
And they still put 30 plus points on the board and win the game. So I think the Colts roster is pretty good. They have a good offensive line. They have a good defensive line. They've got adequate weapons on offense. I mean, I'm not saying Michael Pittman's going to terrify anybody, but
but you got Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Warren.
Yeah. And then you got Downs. I mean, you've got NFL players there. I think it's roster-wise in the AFC South,
right?
It's as good as there is.
Like it's a diet version of the Eagles of the Eagles can win the Super Bowl with less than elite quarterback play,
and the Colts can win the division. Win the division with adequate quarterback play. And I that's the I guess the big point I've been making is if you have a star quarterback, you don't have to have everything perfect around them. You can't afford to, number one, but it doesn't have to be. But if you have a great 52, your quarterback can just be good. And the Titans are a perfect example of that.
Ryan Tannehill.
Because when they had a really good 52 and Tannehill took over, they looked really good.
Yep.
And as the team got worse, you know who looked worse?
Ryan Tannehill.
Ryan Tannehill.
Yep.
And they'll tell you what, if the Eagles roster takes a dip, there's going to be a lot of people saying, why are we paying Jalen Hurts? And I don't hate Jalen Hurts.
I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but
it's a good quarterback on a phenomenal team.
Yes. It's not like he's Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen. He's probably in the second tier, but I wouldn't put him in that group at the very top of the NFL.
No, he shouldn't be. But he wins.
Yep.
He allows them to do unique things and they do them well.
Yep.
But part of that is because they've got a great team around him. And this is all the argument where we're talking about the Eagles is about the Colts and the AFC South. Their overall roster is better. Okay. And so the guy, if he doesn't lose the games for them,
right,
they can win some games. And not only is he not losing games, he's making some plays to win games.
Yep. And the Colts are 3-1 again. Very well could be 4-0 if a couple of things had broken their way. Maybe it was karma coming back from the Broncos game where they got the leverage call at the very end. So
yeah, I agree.
It all evens out.
So they should probably be 3-1.
Yeah, I mean, the ball isn't round. Sometimes it bounces your way. Sometimes it doesn't.
Parcells always said, "You are what your record says you are."
Right. And the Colts are now 3-1. Jags 3-1. Texans 1-3. Titans 0-4.
Texans are not scaring anybody.
In the basement of the AFC South. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. One more hour to go here on this Wednesday on Next Man Up. We will get back into the Titans coming up next. I know Titans fans, it feels like this team may never win a football game again, but they need to. And maybe that happens this week. We'll talk about it coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, Next Man Up, 1025 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, joined by Cory Curtis from News 2, Parker Kelly on the ones and twos. Final hour on this Wednesday. We're getting back into the Titans here. Titans are 0-4. They've lost 10 straight games. They are 3-18 under Brian Callahan, and they are 9-36 in their last 45 games. This team needs a win. They've got Arizona on the road this week, and the Cardinals, the Cardinals are not a world beater out there.
This is shaping up to be a rock fight.
Right. This is a game that you're not projected to win. I don't think there's many games you will be projected to win. Saints at home is the only one that you can look at and say, maybe you
I
get
think preseason, that's it.
Right. Right now, that's the only one I look at and say, yeah, Titans might be the better team in that matchup, which it's still close. But this is a game that if you go play good football, you can win.
They absolutely can win this game.
And you have to show some progress.
Yeah.
Like this team seemingly has gotten worse in every single game. Like the Broncos game, you look at it and you're like, man, we were a couple of plays, a couple bad decisions away from winning that game.
Yeah.
The Rams game is like, yeah, we were in it, and then they pulled away. Colts game, you weren't very good. And then the Texans game, you couldn't move the ball on offense whatsoever.
No.
You got to start to head back in the other direction.
Yep.
I think the biggest thing this week is, can J.C. Latham come back?
Well, it's important.
That could make this offense, that could give this offense a jolt that they desperately need.
Because they're not getting back T'Vondre Sweat. He's on IR, so that's an impossibility. Look, if you watched the Cardinals last game, which they made interesting late, who did they lose to?
They lost to the Seahawks on Thursday night. Yep.
Yeah. But if you watch that game, they were getting booed.
Yes.
They were getting booed.
They did not score a touchdown until the final 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah, and Marvin Harrison Jr. has been a train wreck until the fourth quarter.
He made 2 really big catches down the stretch.
Yes, he'd had a bunch of drops this year, and it'd been kind of a no-show.
James Conner's out for the season.
Yeah, I mean, and Kyler Murray is Kyler Murray. He's glimpses of brilliance and a lot of average. So it's absolutely a game you can win. I'm going to let the inner Chicago Bears fan in me come out now, okay? Your Titans defense, you're the Titans special teams. You know your offense is struggling. Is it fair to you? No, it's not. It doesn't matter. You have to do more.
Yep.
It's not good enough to say, well, we kept them in the game. You need to say, we need to put points on the board.
Yeah.
They do.
No, they do.
They need to put points on, whether it's scoring or getting a turnover in the red zone or something. They need to make one play on defense and one play on special teams that flips the field or gets them in the end zone. Okay?
Right.
Because if you're going to count on your offense to come out and put 25 points on the board, you're barking up the wrong tree. They're not ready to do that yet. And so you have to put it on yourselves. This is an average football team we're playing. We have to do more.
It's a very good point, because this offense is not good enough. I said earlier, they're not good enough to sustain drives. Do you see the Titans offense going 70 yards for a touchdown 3 times in a game yet?
No.
That's not going to happen.
They had the ball for 22 minutes Sunday.
Less than 14 heading into the fourth quarter, by the way. It was, the time of possession was 31-14 heading into the fourth quarter. The Titans are not a team that is going to be able to go up and down the field and score 20 points all by themselves. You are right. Either you need a return from Chimdike that gets you in the end zone,
blocked punt,
or sets you up, blocked punt, or a turnover inside the 25, a pick 6. You need your defense and special teams to basically gift wrap your offense 10 points.
Yes.
On Sunday to have.
And you can say, well, that's not fair, or that's an unreasonable
it's not
expectation.
Fair, but
look, that's where they're at.
That's how you have to win.
That's where they're at. And that's why, last week we said Jeffrey Simmons needed to be the best player on the field, and he was.
Yep.
And he was. And he got a sack, and he had several tackles in the backfield. And when they played in Denver, he got the strip sack and set the offense up for points. They need more of that. And I'm certainly not going to pick on Jeff because he's been great. They need more guys. They need L'Jarius Sneed to get his hands on the football. All right.
Yep.
They need Amani Hooker, who just got paid, to get his hands on the football. I've seen him trailing in coverage quite a bit.
He has been a step late on almost every play this year.
That's got to end. It's got to be better.
Yep.
They've all got to be better. They need to, and this is a broken record for me, make plays. They need to make plays that just don't make it 2nd and 6. They need to make plays that change the game.
Yes.
All right. And, you say, well, you can't do too much, blah, blah, blah. you have to blow stuff up. All right? You have to blow stuff up. Kevin Byard in Los Angeles on Monday Night Football jumps a route,
Takes it back.
puts the game away in the first quarter.
Right.
In the first quarter, he made a play. He made a judgment, and a smart judgment, because he's a smart player, and he changed the game. And they need plays that change the game. Look, I'm all about doing your job, but that also means whipping the guy in front of you.
Right. And you look at Sunday's game against the Texans, it should have been 6-6.
Yeah.
Late in that game. Like, Joey Sly should have made those 2 field goals. You were status quo. You were in that game. You can't have the status quo right now as the team.
Nope.
Like, you can't just hang in there, because it's been proven this year, last year, that even the games that you're in late, you don't have the ability to finish those games.
You will find a way to lose rather than find a way to win.
Right. You need to go out there and throw the first punch on Sunday. Like, I think that's
the second.
Right. We talked about how last year Vanderbilt against Alabama went down, scored a touchdown, got a pick 6. You're up 13-0. I'm not saying you need that immediately, but you need to go out there and assert your will on the Cardinals. Like, because if you just kind of go about your business, you're going to lose again.
Well, and I will tell you this. If you don't even have to be winning at halftime, all right? If it's 7-7 at the half, the Cardinals will get booed off the field.
Yeah. No, it's true.
They will. Their fans know that they're playing an 0-4 team.
Yes.
All right? So you don't have to put them away in the first half, but you got to be there at halftime, and they've largely been there at halftime this year, but they need to show they can move the football. And if they can look like the better team for the first 30 minutes, the Cardinals will get booed off the field.
Yes, the Titans are at the point where they're supposed to be everybody's get-right game.
Yep.
And you are the team that other teams' fans will boo if their team is tied or losing to you. Like, that's how bad it's been. But the Titans, you're right. Like, they have to play well early in that game, be in the game, and then you need a couple of big plays.
Yeah, I mean, be locked in.
Yeah,
be ready to go when it starts, because Nico Collins scares you. All right. I mean, regardless of how bad the Texans' offensive line is, and that C.J. Stroud hasn't been the same player as he was the rookie, Nico Collins is a problem. Marvin Harrison Jr. is their best and hasn't proven he's a problem yet.
Right.
Okay. So, if you can get them chasing, you should be in business.
Right.
You should be in business.
And the Cardinals are coming off long rest. They haven't had to travel. So they had their mini bye this past week after the Thursday night game. That could be a factor. But the Titans, I mean, this team, they're desperately in need of a win. You need to see a ball go through the hoop. Because it's not going to, you can't win 4 games in 1 week.
No.
You got to win 1 to just start to get the vibes and the feelings around this place back in a better direction.
Well, you've got to give yourself a reason to believe.
Right. Because if you end up 0-7 after that Patriots game, like, I feel like some guys might start to check out. Like, it's just.
Well, I mean, come on, man. We're talking about that now.
Right. I mean, it's October 1st.
Yeah.
And we've already had talks about draft and who could be the next head coach. Plenty of time.
Who's to blame for this season? That's a disaster. And we're 4 games in. But look, give your team, give your fans, give everybody a reason to believe that, and coach is going to say, well, we see stuff that's better.
Yeah.
Well, you're last in offense.
Right.
So there's not that much that's better. And we can pull all the names back out of the hat and say they need more from this guy, more from this guy, more from this guy. They just need to be physically stronger at the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. Okay. Dominate the field and move the ball up and down the field. And again, please take the easy throw on first down.
Yep.
And move the ball down the field and set yourself
You cannot have 2nd and 11, 2nd and 12, or worse.
2nd and 4 is an awesome place.
It really is. Yeah. Get to 2nd and 4 and your options multiply of what you can do in that spot. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We will get to your phones on the text line. Our phone line is driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly. We are broadcasting live from the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership, where the buzz is always about great service. More Titans talk on the other side here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Jake Lyman, Cory, Curtis, Parker, Kelly with you on this Wednesday morning. Few more segments with you. We'll hand it off to Chase and Big Joe at the top of the hour. Brian Callahan going to speak to the media just before noon. 11:50 is what's scheduled, so we will bring that to you live whenever he gets up to the podium. So stay tuned for that. Maybe an injury update on J.C. Latham, which we've talked about how important it is to finally get him back and hopefully fully healthy. We'll see if he's able to get out there on the practice field this week. Also, Tajay Spears. Brian Callahan did mention on Monday that they are opening the practice window for Tajay Spears. And not that I think Tajay Spears is going to be a complete game changer for the Titans getting him back, but I do think, and I mentioned this yesterday, I think the one thing that he can help with, hopefully, is the screen game, because the screen game has been atrocious this season.
Yeah.
And maybe getting that guy back can help you turn those from negative plays into plays that can get you in front of the chains or get you a couple of first downs.
You know, sometimes when I watch football, I feel really, really stupid. You know, I mean, just really dumb, because I watch other teams and like the quarterback turns and the running back's just out there by himself and he runs 10 yards for the first down. And I'm like, how come that never happens with the Titans?
Titans just make everything look a lot harder than everybody else.
How come there just isn't a guy standing over there by himself? I think number one, maybe it's not there, but I think number two, I don't think they always see it when it is.
Yeah, it's fair. That I think there have been plenty of missed opportunities for the Titans this year. The screen game, when it comes to wide receiver screens, halfback screens, they've all been. I can't even think of one that's gone for positive yardage that has actually stood.
Well,
there have been two that have gone for first downs, and both have gotten called back for penalties.
Have you got the Titan stats in front of you?
I can get them up.
Look at Chim DK, receptions and yards. This is going to define it for you.
Chim DK, 5 catches. Oh my goodness. I had an idea in my head of what it might be, and it's so much worse. 5 catches for 1 yard.
Yeah, it was minus before last week.
Yeah, his longest catch is 8 yards.
So at this point, if you're the opposing team and you know Chim DK is on the field, you're moving up.
Yeah.
Right? Because okay, he's getting the ball behind the line of scrimmage, either in the screen game or in a jet sweep or in a reverse or something. So you play to tendencies.
Yeah.
And so when you're the Titans, the counter to that is to now get Chim DK down the field. All right. And so they need to use Chim DK's speed down the field.
Yes.
Down the field.
There are other ways to get the ball in his hands other than just the screen pass.
Yes.
And so far it feels like, yeah, you're right. It's like when they brought in Cody Hollister under Mike Vrabel, it was like they're running the football. It's Chim DK runs out on the field. All right, get ready for the screen of the jet sweep.
Yeah. That's what we've seen after 4 games. I'm not opposed to giving him the ball on the screen or the jet sweep. I am opposed to being that the only way you get him the football. He is a 4.3 40 guy. You know, look, you haven't had the time to sit back there and throw the 50-yard bomb.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be that. He can run other patterns where you can get him the football.
Right. And his speed, you can use him on crossing routes. It can be the deep ball, but yeah, you've got to find ways to get Chim DK the ball where he can use that speed. 5 catches for 1 yard. That is crazy. He has 12 yards after catch.
So he's caught the ball 13 yards behind the line of scrimmage, or 11 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yes. Yeah.
We haven't talked about for the Cardinals. There are not a lot of ageless wonders in the NFL, especially on the interior. Calais Campbell.
How is that guy still playing football?
39 years old. And he's a problem. He's a problem.
Right.
And for Cam Ward, he's a real problem because he's
huge.
He's like 700 feet tall. I mean, what is he, 6'6"?
I think he's 6'7". That like
6'7", yeah. No, I mean, I was watching him Thursday night going, he's one of my favorite players.
6'8".
6'8". He is so destructive. He's a violent player. He's a big man. He's always noticeable.
Yeah.
And he just goes from team to team to team. And I'm like, why do these teams keep letting him go?
Right. Well, it's one of those things where you see him go to the next team and you're like, oh, veteran journeyman. Like, he's probably going to take a step back, and he never does. He was good with the Jaguars. He was good with the Ravens, and he's back with the Cardinals, and he's good with them again.
Yeah, it's one of the more impressive runs I've seen.
You're right. It's a very good point with Cam Ward and his sidearm throwing motion of having a big 6'8" Calais Campbell in your face is not going to be easy for him to get the ball out over the middle of the field.
Do you think is Calais Campbell in the Hall of Fame conversation? I mean, I think he's got some Art Monk to him, where the longevity of his projection, Frank Gore, Art Monk, Calais Campbell, the longevity of their production is so far superior to anyone else. It's part of what makes him impressive.
18th year in the league.
Yeah. I mean, he had a few seasons where in 2018 and 17-18, he went 14.5 sacks, 10.5 sacks. He's got 113.5 career sacks.
Yeah.
Probably another one this weekend. So I mean,
just the long, like we talked about it with running backs last week of like talking about Chris Johnson. Yeah, I knew you texted it about this, about like, is Chris Johnson a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, no chance.
And we said the longevity wasn't there. But with Calais Campbell, I feel like you have to give him some credit for
his
the
longevity. It's like Frank Gore. His longevity, because I don't think Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer. But his longevity is what you can make the argument that he was that productive for that long. And, Calais Campbell, you may not pick out, there's a lot of like 6 sack, 7 sack, 8 sack seasons, but I mean, to do it for 20 years,
right,
is incredible.
I mean, he obviously has played more years. Like, think of JJ Watt. JJ Watt has been retired for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Calais Campbell was in the league 3 years before JJ Watt.
He's got 3 sacks already this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not slowing down.
Calais Campbell, his next sack will tie him with J.J. Watt for 24th in NFL history. Yeah. So I think he is a Hall of Famer.
I do too. I'd vote for him. PK's a voter. Maybe he can clear this up for me later today.
It's not going to – I don't think he'll be a first ballot Hall of Famer, obviously, but I do think eventually he gets in just for the body of work overall and what he's done.
Well, he would certainly make it, I would think, on the Veterans Committee, but I think he gets voted in.
And he played in a Super Bowl, right? Like, he was on the Ken Whisenhunt Cardinals team, wasn't he?
Probably been around that long, yeah.
Because that was 2009?
Yes, that would be his second year in the league.
Yeah.
It's 7 sacks.
Yeah, Calais Campbell played in the Super Bowl with Troy Polamalu, and Kurt Warner was on. He was teammates with Kurt Warner. That is,
I mean, I love watching that guy play. There was a Monday night or a Thursday nighter I think it was a Thursday nighter. Titans went to Jacksonville with Mariota.
Yeah,
and Calais Campbell and those guys just beat the daylights out of them.
Right. Well, that 2017 Jags team that went to the AFC Championship game, that was him and who was the guy that signed over with Jacksonville from Denver? He was on the Denver Super Bowl team.
Oh, it's former Tennessee ball, Malik Jackson.
Malik Jackson, yes. Yeah. So they had Malik Jackson, Calais Campbell in the middle. They had a good edge rusher that year too.
Well, they're always drafted in the top 5.
Right. It was pre-Josh Allen, but it was they had a good team that year. Miles Jack obviously was on that team. Jalen Ramsey was still there. AJ Boye was on the other side at corner. Like, it was a really good Jaguars defense.
That was Josh Allen, I think.
Was it Josh Allen?
Yeah, I think it was like rookie Josh Allen.
It might have been 2017 Jaguars roster. Yeah, they had some good safeties on that team too. Like, that was Yannick Ngakoue was who I was thinking of. Yes, Yannick Ngakoue.
Was Tayshaun Gibson one of their safeties that year?
Yes, Tayshaun Gibson, Barry Church, and then they had Boye, Jalen Ramsey, Paul Posluszny was still on that team.
Okay.
So yeah, that was a good defense, and Calais Campbell had 14.5 sacks that year.
But Calais Campbell, he's the straw that stirs the drink.
Yes, that is going to be a tough matchup for the Titans.
Just imagine if J.C. Latham plays in this game. I mean, the earth may shake when those two guys run into each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's Godzilla versus King Kong.
It is. They're just going to chuck boulders at each other.
You said it's going to be a rock fight.
It is.
So we'll see on Sunday.
First one to 17 wins.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be high scoring whatsoever. Titans, we mentioned it. You need the special teams and defense to help out your offense, because clearly the offense has.
You said 10 points from those two units?
I think they need to gift wrap 10 points. That doesn't mean like a pick 6.
I agree with that.
Set up your offense inside the 30.
If you want to get over 20, you need to gift wrap 10.
Yep. You need your special teams and defense to set up a field goal and a touchdown at the very minimum.
I would agree with those numbers.
Yep.
And I don't care if that's fair or not. It's not a fair world. Go do it.
If you want to win a game, that's kind of what has to happen.
You have to do more. And everybody in that locker room needs to look at themselves. Every unit that when they're in their meetings, they need to look at each other and say, we have to do more. We are not doing enough.
Titans hoping that they can finally get win number 1 coming up on Sunday. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We got a couple more segments left in the show. Brian Callahan is going to speak roughly at 11:50. We plan to bring that to you live when he steps to the podium, and then we'll hand you off to Chase and Big Joe after that. So we're going to talk Nashville SC coming up next.
All right.
Do want to give the credit to the boys in gold over there. They are playing for a trophy tonight, the U.S. Open Cup in Austin. We will talk about Nashville SC coming up next. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you on this Wednesday. Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game. Next man up, 102.5 The Game. Final half hour on this Wednesday. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly with you. Chasing Big Joe coming up at noon. And again, Brian Callahan going to speak to the media at 11:50. We will bring that to you whenever he steps up to the podium. So did want to take this opportunity in this segment to talk about Nashville SC because they are playing for a trophy tonight. They are playing in the U.S. Open Cup final in Austin. I've seen some Nashville SC people say that this would be the first major championship trophy in
there.
city history. Like, would you say that the Western Conference championship for the Preds is more valuable than the U.S. Open Cup final or winning the AFC for the Titans in 99? Like, is that more? I don't know. But it is a chance to bring a trophy home, and I know how important that has been for Nashville SC since BJ Callahan came over. He's talked about that. So an opportunity tonight against Austin to go win a championship in the U.S. Open Cup.
Look, soccer people have always looked at things differently than everybody else does.
Right.
And that's fine.
It's a very different world than major American sports.
Yes, and that's fine. So we're going to look at it a little differently. All right. Because I would agree with you. You know, the Preds didn't win a trophy. They did win the Western Conference. They did win the President's Trophy.
Right.
Okay. There's value in that. The Titans won the AFC. They won the AFC South. You know, and they won the AFC going to the Super Bowl.
I think we mentioned this is like the NBA in-season tournament, like winning that. Like it's something you like to do.
You have to win 5 games.
Right.
And one of them was against a USL team to start with, because it's the Open Cup. It's open to all leagues in the country. Before it gets to the MLS level, it starts at the lower levels and kind of filters its way up.
Right.
As an MLS team, you don't join till later on.
It's not like
you're
playing in the first round.
And also when you're playing in this tournament, not everybody comes with their A game. Not everybody, the stars don't play the whole shebang. That's just the way it is, because you've got to manage your MLS season. Nashville hasn't played their star players the whole way. Now, we've seen a lot of Mukhtar and a lot of Surridge throughout this whole process, and a lot of Dandy Nahar, but we've seen a lot of other guys. You know, Chris Applewhite, the 17-year-old, played one of these games.
Right,
they have played their backup goalie in all 4 of these games that they have won. And I was at the presser yesterday. I go to quite a few of them during the season. And, you know, Hani Mukhtar, you know, said it simply. He goes, you know, my understanding is this is the easiest, quickest, this is the quickest path, not easiest, quickest path to a trophy. You just have to win 5 games.
Gotcha.
So yes, it's a trophy. And yes, it's a championship. And I do not want to diminish that whatsoever. It's not the same as winning the MLS Cup. It's not. I will go to my deathbed making that argument.
I think everybody would agree with that, right?
Okay.
Like it's,
now you beat Philadelphia to get here, and Philadelphia is a team that can definitely contend for it.
Top seed in the Eastern Conference,
but it's not the same, because, you know, Inter Miami wasn't in this tournament. They're playing in the Leagues Cup. All right. And so it's different. It's still a tournament. You're still in it. You're still trying to win it. And it's great, but I don't agree with the chest pounding of first championship for
the city. Yeah.
It's not. It's a trophy. It's wonderful. I will celebrate it with them if they win and congratulate them for it, but it's not the same as winning your league.
Right. It's important to celebrate it because it is a big deal.
Yes.
But like that's I would say that the soccer people, like, let's not try and compare it to the other stuff that's going on.
I would say let's just enjoy it for what
it
is.
Exactly.
What it is. And what it is a chance to, there is a tournament that goes on during the season, and there are several tournaments, and it's a matter of which ones you're in and which ones you can advance in. And they have taken this tournament seriously from the get-go. They made the decision they wanted to win this tournament when the season started.
Yeah.
And so that's awesome. That's awesome, and that they're there, and that they've had so many players contribute to that. It hasn't just been Surridge and Mukhtar. They've had other players score in these games. They've had Schwakey, like I said, in goal, and they've still been able to manage to stay very competitive in MLS along the way while playing these extra games. So it is tremendous. I think it's great. Playing all these one-off games, you know, they're all elimination games, is great practice going into the MLS Cup in the tournament. And so I think, you know, they've got a lot of veteran players who played a lot of soccer, and so they'll be ready for tonight. And so I think it's all good training going into the postseason, which is right around the corner.
Yep, only 2 more matches in the regular season. So if you want a chance to get some momentum and feel good heading into the postseason, right now Nashville is the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, but I'm looking at it, it's like the Eastern Conference
The
and the
Eastern
Western
Conference is loaded.
It's almost completely different. Because Austin, who Nashville's playing tonight, they're the 6th seed in the Western Conference.
But they've got 44 points.
Yeah, they have 9 less points than Nashville does.
That's basically 3 wins. And Nashville's doing it against the East. I mean, okay, who's first in the Eastern Conference? Philadelphia still?
Yes, Philadelphia has 63 points.
You know what Nashville's record is against Philadelphia this year?
Yeah, you said what, 3-0?
3-0.
Yeah.
3-0. All right. So, they've lost a couple you'd like to not lose, but I mean, they're facing good teams all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And so if I were Nashville, I would feel very good. Their players, you can stack up with anybody. And it's not just Mukhtar and Surridge. Surridge has, I think, 22 goals this year. Wow. He could the gold boot goes to the leading goal scorer every year. That could be decided the final game of the year when Nashville takes on Miami with Surridge and Messi, which would be really exciting to see. But it's not just those guys. Jason Palacios is a Colombian defender who's come in and played exceptionally well for this team. Andy Nahar has been outstanding. You could argue Andy Nahar has been this team's MVP.
Yeah.
He has been utterly spectacular. I mean, watching him, I was like, this guy has changed this team as much as anybody. And then you've got Eddie Tagseth and Gaston Brugman in the middle, Patrick Yazbek in the middle, and some of these guys who've really changed the midfield for this team as well. It's like the year the Titans, nail free agency and all the guys, Ben Jones and Delaney Walker and all, oh yeah, they nailed it. They nailed free agency.
Right. I mean, I remember the conversation around Nashville SC right before they hired BJ Callahan was like, man, this team's in a rough spot.
They were terrible.
And they
went 3 months without winning a match last year.
And then they have just completely 180 turned it around.
They went 3 months without losing a match this year.
Excited for tonight. Again, U.S. Open Cup final between Nashville and Austin. And you said, at least on paper, Nashville should be the favorite.
They are a heavy favorite in this game. It was funny at the presser. The last question Andy Nahar got asked by a reporter was, is there any thought of the embarrassment of losing this game when you're such an overwhelming favorite to win it? And I give Hani credit. He chuckled at the question and said, well, that's why you play the game, isn't it?
Right.
And he's absolutely right. It was a funny question. And it was a good answer. Look, they won their way here just like Nashville did.
Right.
Okay. And they are going to go to the playoffs just like Nashville is. So, and they're home. Okay. So, can Nashville lose this game? Absolutely. It's going to be a lower scoring game. At least I expect it to be than Nashville's accustomed to, because Austin can really pack it in defensively.
Right.
So 2 goals, you hope, is enough to win you this game. And so when you get early in the season, Nashville wasn't always finishing. And when they started finishing really golden opportunities, then they started putting teams away, and they're finishing really well right now. So that's got to continue tonight. Would they get a couple of good opportunities? They got to put them in the net and then lock it in.
Yeah, it was what's the old adage of we were the better team on paper, but unfortunately the game was played on grass.
Yeah.
Like that. Hopefully Nashville SC can hold on as the overwhelming favorite tonight against Austin and bring home the U.S. Open Cup. 615-737-1025 is the phone number. We will get back to the Titans coming up next and lead you into Brian Callahan's press conference, his Wednesday press conference, hopefully going to get some injury updates, maybe see if J.C. Latham can get back out on the field this week. Final segment of the show coming up. Jake Lyman, Cory Curtis, Parker Kelly, next man up, 102.5 The Game. Parker had to sneak it in here.
You really thought we'd go the whole show without it?
I mean, I guess not. Parker's got his Cubs jersey on. Cubs playing coming up at 2:00, looking to sweep the Padres, move on to face the Milwaukee Brewers in the NLDS. My Tigers are about 20 minutes from getting underway, and you can actually listen to that game on 94.9 The Fan if you'd like to. That is over on 94.9 The Fan on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Chase and Big Joe are coming up after us here on 102.5 The Game. We're getting ready for Brian Callahan's press conference here ahead of Wednesday practice. We will bring that to you live when he steps to the podium. Cory, we had a conversation yesterday about a Mike Florio article, and I wanted to get your thoughts.
Okay.
So Mike Florio wrote an article called "The Brian Callahan Watches on Monday" about, when is he going to be let go? And he had a note in there, and there was no sourcing on this. It was more speculation of, could the Titans do what the Colts did in 2022 and look outside for an interim hire? And he mentioned Mike McCarthy. And I don't understand.
There's a lot of fans bringing up that name.
Right. I don't know if you could logistically bring in Mike McCarthy midseason, because he's not going to come be the interim without guarantees that he's going to be the head coach.
Well, that's what I say. I don't think you could bring him in to be the interim. You'd have to hire him.
And wouldn't you have to satisfy the Rooney Rule to do that?
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to, you could interview Denard, and you could interview
Tyke Tolbert or something like
Bones,
right?
And you could, interview somebody outside the organization who's not coaching right now. You could Gruden.
Yeah, I guess if they wanted to do that, it wouldn't be the first time that coaching hire has been a sham. But
and you'd have to do that on the bye week,
right?
I mean,
that was the point that he made, is if they are going to try and get someone from the outside, it would take more than just a couple of days to get all of that in order.
Look, I don't like to speculate about coaching changes because these are livelihoods for people.
Right.
But if you're going to go outside the organization, I'd go with something
Yeah.
And I would call Mike Mularkey or Mike Munchak and say, hey, we need you for the rest of the year. And that if that's what they wanted to, I don't think that's what they'll do.
I think
if they make a change,
it's gonna be Mike McCoy or Bones Fossil.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I thought that was just interesting that Florio put that in there of hey, it might take a couple of weeks to get that in order if they were planning on that, which is true.
And maybe those wheels are already in motion. I mean, who knows? We
have no idea what's going on.
I mean, look, even if they get things turned around and going in a better direction.
Yep.
And teams do it. It happens. The Lions did it. All right. I mean, the Lions were awful the first year. They didn't start great the second year.
Right.
And they got it turned around.
Right. They won their last 7 games or whatever back in 2022.
But even if they get it turned around, they're 0-4, so there's 13 games left. You 5.
Right.
I mean,
they're not going to go above 500 the rest of the year.
No,
but yeah, if
you're thinking 5-12.
That seems like the best case scenario at this point.
And you still have a decision to make.
Right. Because we did say before the season, there is a path for Brian Callahan to only win 5 or 6 games and keep his job.
Yeah.
It's all about the quarterback.
And right now we're not seeing enough from the quarterback where you would say, well, we got to keep the guys in place. He needs to show more. The team needs to show more. Everybody needs to show more.
Same conversation we've been having. Titans need to get a win. 615-737-1025 is our phone number if you have any final thoughts for us. We are waiting for Brian Callahan to take the podium for his weekly press conference. Do want to mention for tomorrow, Teron Davenport going to be with us for all 3 hours.
By the way, TD is a part of TN Nation every week.
Yes, so make sure you tune in on News 2. So TD will be with us for the full show tomorrow. We'll give you your chance to talk to TD, ask your questions for Teron at 10 o'clock. Andrew Allegretta from Vandy Football going to join us at 11 to preview that huge Vanderbilt-Alabama game. But again, TD with us for the full show tomorrow. Brian Callahan going to step to the podium. I don't really know if there's a whole lot that he can say that he hasn't said on Monday, but I think injury updates is the big one. And maybe just more about how the play calling can evolve after 1 week of Bo Harding.
I think J.C. Latham's a big question.
Right.
And then the other thing is, how do you get his completion percentage closer to 60%?
That is the statistics don't look good for Cam Ward. I know the stats aren't everything. You have to watch the game. You can't scout a box score, but it's like they're so bad that it's like, are you concerned about it?
Well, you have to be, because you can't stay on the field for more than 22 minutes by
Right.
completing 40% of your passes.
Yep.
All right. So to move the chains consistently, that completion percentage needs to be 50% higher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's what they got to figure out. How do we complete more passes? And that doesn't mean completing 1-yard passes.
Right. You don't want to complete passes just for the sake of completing passes.
Exactly. How do we move the ball down the field, matriculate the ball down the field, and then set ourselves up for shots? Because, it's what you do underneath that sets you up for over the top.
Right.
And they haven't done enough underneath to set themselves up for over the top at this point.
Right.
But so to me, that's one of the big questions. And then they'll probably also ask him, how do you deal with, is this where this is like a Bo Nix game?
Yeah.
Where your ends really need to hem in Kyler Murray.
Yeah, no, that is a good point, because Kyler Murray, as we've seen, he's one of those guys who, when he gets out of the pocket, kind of similar to Cam Ward, of just like, he's got that feel for the spacing on the field, and he can make those throws that a lot of other guys can't make. But yes, when you make him play from the pocket, he's pretty
well.
average.
I think he likes to play from the pocket, truthfully. I don't think he wants to be a big runner, but when he gets out there, he's like one of those, remember those penny racers where you just pull him back and I mean, he's something.
He is.
He's something.
I always look back at, I think they were playing the Raiders a couple years ago. He had that 2-point attempt where it felt like he held the ball for 15 seconds and then somehow was able to find a guy in the end zone for a touchdown.
And then he beat the Bills.
The Hail Murray.
To Hop.
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah.
So, Kyler Murray, no one's going to mistake Kyler Murray for an elite quarterback in this league.
No.
But again, it's not like you're playing Spencer Rattler.
No. And their receiving core, they need more from Marvin Harrison Jr. on a regular basis.
Yep.
And your mission has to be to get in his head in the first quarter and take him out of the game.
Right.
Because it's been shown you can do that.
Yeah.
And so that's really on L'Jarius Sneed. Take this kid out of the game, make them look elsewhere, because their elsewhere doesn't scare you very much. Although we haven't talked about Trey McBride, who's a very good
he is a very good player.
Yes.
And you're right about Sneed. We said after the Rams game, where we said that was the best game he's played as a Titan, that he's got to show that again. I think Sunday was the worst game he's played as a Titan. He's got to be able to bounce back from that and have a better game on Sunday.
And you say he's got to show that again. He's going to be better than that.
Right. I mean,
he's got to be better. He's got to be better. He's got to be better. He has to push this team forward.
Well, it's funny we talk about box score scouting. If you look at the stats of like when L'Jarius Sneed was lined up in coverage against the Rams, those stats didn't look good. But if you watch the game, he was a factor and he played well. The Texans, I saw somebody tweet like, why are people saying Sneed had such a bad game? He only gave up 2 catches for 49 yards. If you take out the 37, I'm like, did you not watch the Ross Tucker basically telling everybody that the whole team was playing man and L'Jarius Sneed was playing zone and let Nico Collins run free? Like, he wasn't primary coverage there, but he was supposed to be covering that guy.
Yeah. It's, you need him to be a star player.
Right. I mean, that's what you trade and give all that money to that guy to be a star player.
Yep.
Brian Callahan still has not stepped to the podium, so we will step aside, hand it off to Chase and Big Joe. They're coming up. They will have Brian Callahan's press conference whenever he does get up over there at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. Cory, thanks for coming by.
My pleasure. Hopefully my voice will be in a better place next week.
Yeah, we will see you next week on Wednesdays. Always a pleasure. Parker Kelly, I'm Jake Lyman, signing off here on Next Man Up, 102.5 The Game.
Go Cubs.